For the purposes of this channel, I'm going to go by I Think Too Much, because I like that name, and I want to write a book. The book I want to write is going to be, it's sort of a, I say a lot, don't I? It's sort of a Lovecraftian style book where weird shit happens, characters do things, there's a little bit of horror, a little bit of stuff. It's a slow burn till you get to the horror. Yeah, let me describe the book. So essentially, all at once around the world, thousands and thousands of people all hear a single word, all at the same time. And it's something bigger and more than any of them can know or describe. All of them are going to spend the rest of their lives trying to communicate this word to someone else. And they're going to fail to, miserably. So, because this word it's more, it's bigger than anything anyone can describe. It's more, it's less, it's dark, it's light, it's purple and rain, it's so many different things. And no one can put their finger on describing it in any English language, or any language at all, or any form, or any action, or any art, or any act of viciousness. No act of violence, no nothing. Nothing, not a single damn thing any of them ever do is going to depict this word, but nonetheless they have to try. Nonetheless, they have to try anyway. And, okay, so, in keeping with this word of advice that I heard once, when writing a war, don't write about a war, write about a child standing barefoot in the mud after just watching a tank run over their socks. Or something along those lines. Like, don't write big, write small. Don't write about the world, write about a man. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to write about this one character who basically does everything. Like, I originally wrote this one, I originally wrote out this idea in poem form on Tumblr. Yes, I'm on Tumblr. Anyway, I originally wrote this out on Tumblr. I'll put that up on the screen right now for you. Yeah, so essentially the main character is going to do all of the steps. They're going to do all of the things. And the way I want to write this is, I'm terrible at just sitting down in front of a computer and writing. I can't bullet point, I can't do it. So I'm going to work from the framework of the story that my poem provides, and I'm just going to have my main character do all of those things, and I'm going to fill in the blanks. Like, for example, the first thing that everyone tries to do, or that a lot of people try to do to describe the word, is they just try to use language. They start off with their native languages, and they go, this isn't enough. It isn't right. So they go and learn as many languages as they physically can to try and describe the word, but they fail. They keep failing. And I want to describe how my main character goes through that steps. Like, for example, he starts writing in pencil on paper. And just keeps writing and writing and writing. Goes through 100 sheets of paper and says, this isn't working. What if I need a different language? And then he learns Latin. Why did he choose Latin? Well, psychologically, he thinks maybe it's in an older language. Maybe an older language will help. So he takes up Latin to try and find the words. And it doesn't work. So he goes, fine, something with a lot of characters, with a lot of depth, a lot of stuff. And he tries to learn as much Chinese as he can, or Mandarin, I guess. And tries to put together some meaning by blending all of these things together, and he goes through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sheets of paper, dozens and dozens and dozens of pencils, trying to portray this through writing. And he fails. So then the next part of my process is stop and describe what he's doing, and then really stop and ask why. Because I feel like that's really a good way to write, is you just write the actions of the character, don't worry too hard about motivations, and then figure out what their motivations were after the fact. And I don't mean write the entire book and then figure out why they just did all of that. I mean a sequence of events, figure out why they did that, and then use that as motivation moving forward. You know? That way, you can bridge the gap between your mental image of the character and any notable application of the character. You just start applying the character as they are in your head, and then you sort out the who's, where's, and whys of why they just did everything that they just did that you just wrote. Write what they do for a time, and then ask why, and then use that as motivations moving forward. That's how I want to do this. Pre-retroactively explain things. Because, like, a thing that you see in a lot of books is people will just write, yeah, the character did this. Then everybody goes, why? And then the book does not explain. Like, the story does not explain why. So I want to pre-retroactively explain why. Write the thing, then write the why, but put the why before the thing. There you go. Or unless you're writing a mystery, in which case sometimes you put the why after the thing. Where I'm at in my notes right now, so I'm going to go a little bit off the cuff and just keep talking about my book. Like, if you paused and read the poem, you know generally everything he's going to do. He's going to try and write it, he's going to try and sculpt it, he's going to try and paint it, he's going to try and depict it in a number of ways. And in the poem, I do not show or describe how they do this, like what kind of language they use, what kind of shapes they make. I don't describe any of that. I obviously will for the book, which I don't plan on being a very long book. I've never written anything noteworthy before, so this is a first. He is doing all this. He's figuring all this out. He's trying all these different ways. You saw in the poem just vaguely everything he's going to do, all the horrible things. And then at the very end of the story, he's going to realize that it was all in vain. That this word will never be communicated. He and everyone else just wasted their time. And you might think that sounds like just the most negative ending of the book. But he'll also realize in the spaces in between, through their efforts, through everything they did, they almost got there. And somewhere in all of this, the word is there. The word is depicted, but not in any individual thing that they did, but in the whole of the reality that they are in. Because the word is more, the word is bigger than all of that. So, in essence, he lived the word. He really did. So did everyone without knowing it. Because the word is this ever-present thing. And another part I didn't describe very well when I was talking about the premise, is I want the characters to hear the word, and then and they understand it for an instant, and then just as quickly they forget the word and they forget its meaning, because it's too big for their brains to hold on to. But for just a moment they had it, and then they lost it. So it's like when you have a memory of remembering something. Like you remember remembering, but you can't describe it. You can't put your finger on what you're trying to remember, but you remember the fact that you remembered something. And that something is gone now. That memory is gone. And it sucks. But that's just where you're at now. But this is more Eldritch Horror because it's just like, where did this word come from? Who or what gave them this word? What are the implications here for the universe, the world at large? What does this mean? And that's part of the story. That's part of what the main character is going to realize at the end is that this meant nothing. It changes nothing. Whatever's here is clear as it's ever going to be, and no one will ever know because it's so much bigger and broader. It's above and below, it's more and less than anything that anyone will ever know. There are no words to describe it because it just is. It just is. And that's the kind of feeling I want to evoke. Just this. It is. Not quite existential horror, but just this feeling of, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Trying to describe how I felt when I first thought of this idea. It's kind of hard, because it's so specific. It's a little bit like cosmic horror, but different, more peaceable. This idea makes me feel like I know my place. It makes me feel like that place is maneuverable, it is movable, it is changeable, it is nothing and everything. And it defies a perfect description, this feeling. It is more and less and big and small. And that's the kind of feeling I want to convey through my writing, through how I write this story. That's what I want to be communicated. And maybe I won't be the best author ever, I don't intend to be, I just want to communicate this idea. I want to communicate this story and this idea and help people feel what I have felt. And again, I don't intend to write the longest book ever written. I'm not gonna do some amygdala Sam Fenna, go read his book thing. I just want to, it's gonna be a short story, more than likely. Not too short, it might take you a couple hours to read, but it's not gonna be like 14 hours long, 20-hour story. This story is 36 hours long to read, and even longer as an audiobook. No, I'm not doing that. I just want to communicate this feeling. Communicate this feeling of frivolity and uselessness, as words are just utter failures at communicating this idea that no matter the art, no matter the horrors, no matter the pain, no matter the good, no matter the healing, no matter what, this idea will never be communicated again to anyone ever. It describes something so fundamental about our reality. No process of math, no understanding of physics, no philosopher, no one and nothing within this mortal coil can understand this word for longer than an instant, because to understand it for longer than an instant is to stare in the face of God. And that's what I want. I want to write that. So I'm going to continue this series, I guess. Part 1, I'm going to be, and I'll keep typing this out in like a Google Doc that I might share. I don't know how that works. I'll figure it out. I might have this in like a Google Doc of some kind, where I'll like write it out after I write each section audibly, here like this. So like the next part is probably going to be me getting up on the first part, the part where he tries to write it out, and I'll like describe what he does and how he does it. Maybe he'll meet some people. Who knows? I'll write all that out, see if I can flesh out a couple extra characters and all this, and yeah. Oh yeah, no, that part toward the end where it turns just to absolute horror, because they like literally torture people and misshape their flesh and perform horrifying immoral surgeries on them. Wouldn't that be so much worse if it was people he knew, that he's just lost himself so much in this word? He's lost himself so much in this idea. He loses track of friend and foe and innocent and evil, and just has to communicate this idea so badly that he'll take the nearest flesh he can to try and resculpt it into something that it communicates this idea correctly. And then when he finishes, he reels back in horror, as he still failed. He did all of this, and he still failed. People are dying. People want to die. And he still failed. He killed people he knew. Friends. Family, maybe. He doesn't even remember it all now. But he still failed. Yeah, that's the feeling I want to communicate. I do that so much better through an auditory medium. Like, I feel like I'm a much better speaker than a writer. So, that's what I want to do. I want to communicate this idea through that. Through this medium of, I'm going to speak it, and then later on I'm going to write down the transcript of what I say. Slowly, chapter by chapter, and I'll do revisions that way too. I'll read what I write and be like, that didn't sound good. And I'll basically just try to create the perfect audiobook. Taking influences where I can. If any of you have good book recommendations for a similar idea, hit me up, I guess. Or just, like, good references for, like, hey, if I need some medical knowledge, like, if I say some shit, you're like, hey, that's not medically possible, here's a source, thank you. That's what I'm doing this for, because I want this to, like, I don't just want to write a book and never have anyone read it. And that's not even just I need money. I do need money, but that's not even all that it's about. I want to communicate this idea, because much like the characters in the book, I feel like I have to communicate it. I feel like this idea is planted itself inside me, and even when I'm not trying to think about it, sometimes I find myself thinking about it, and I have to get it out. I have to communicate this. So when I eventually go to publish this book, I want people to want it. I want to already have an audience. I want to have people who want to read it. And I figure, hey, this YouTube thing worked for Sam Fenna. Again, go read his book right now. Do it. Go do it now. And this way worked for him. When he published his book, he had thousands of buyers. He's made a decent amount. He made a decent chunk of change on just his first book, and which is actually far from being his first book. Like, he's been writing for a while, and he's revised this entire book a bunch of times, and I'll probably end up doing something similar. I'll probably revise this thing from the core at least about 1,000,000 times before it ever makes it to book form, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the journey. I'm okay with that journey. I just want to be able to get this idea out, and I want to communicate it, and I want people to hear me and understand. And, yeah, anyway, now this video is going to be about 20 minutes long, and I've started to repeat myself a bunch of times, so I think I'm going to end it off here. Next video, I'm going to start on the first chapter, well, I'm not even going to say chapter yet. I'm going to start off on the first arc, the writing arc, and we'll see where that goes. In that first arc, I want to describe him hearing the word for the first time, and immediately shrugging it off, because he doesn't care. He's got bigger things, he's got more pressing things to worry about right now. He's got a job to do and other shit, so he just shrugs it off. Next day, this thing is making headlines on the news because people are like, yeah, I heard this word, and someone this main character knows is like, wow, this is crazy shit. You hear about this? And he's like, oh yeah, I heard that too. And his friend's just like, why didn't you say anything? I didn't seem important at the time. Well, can you describe it? No. Okay, let me just and that's where his words will fail him, and yada yada yada. That's for next video though. So next video, we're gonna describe how he heard it, how he got into trying to communicate it, and all this different stuff. How it slowly drives him crazy. We're gonna start that process there with the writing arc, where he tries to write the word. Anyway, yeah, so that's... I've been... I think too much with a 1 instead of an I. Just the first I. I think too much, number 1. And this is the book I tend to write. The working title right now is The Word. And, you know, just to play on the Bible a little bit, the first idea I had to, like, start off the book is just to literally parody the Bible and say, in the beginning, there was the Word. You know, sounds fun. Sounds like it'd be a fun thing to do. Parody the Bible a little bit. Maybe I'll do that throughout the book. I don't know. But anyway, this has been the intro. This has been me saying what I'm going to do. Follow if you want. Like and subscribe. Share it if you think it's a good book idea. Honestly, if I get any engagement with this first video, that might say a lot to whether I continue this process or not. I'm kind of terrible about this shit. I like to start things and never finish them, so we'll see. Anyway, yeah, that's been the intro to this series. Have fun. Goodbye. Like and subscribe. See you in the next one.